Hi everyone, so I thought I'd have a little bit of chair time with you this week and yeah, just have a chat about my hair journey. So you see me getting braids, you saw me in Switzerland when it shrunk and I was like, Yeah, I wanted to talk about the highs and the lows and how I'm feeling now. I'm also starting to feel really reflective. I'm 30 this year and my hair, I don't know, we've gone through some styles, we've gone through some dodgy styles, and I've been looking back at old photos. I'll probably put loads of old photos in this video as well. I know that hair is complicated for many people, but for black women, you know, there's history, there is so much context, and I just wanted to speak about things from my own perspective. You may be able to relate to some of it or none at all, and that's fine. I just want to get across like the complexities for me personally. Obviously there's no like neat conclusion, there's no like journey like this. I think it's different for everyone, and I thought I'll put my story out there, and I'd love to hear your stories as well in the comments. If you like this video, you know, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, it would make my day, and yeah, let's get talking about hair. So when I was younger, my mum had a curly perm, all my aunts had curly perms, so I was very much used to seeing them with this like looser texture, like it was the 80s. So I think my dad had hair at that point, and so he had like a small afro. You know, the first time I started being conscious of my own hair was, I guess, getting it done before I went to school every day. My mum would sit me on the floor and she would comb around my hair before school every morning. And you know, that just seemed normal, to not really do anything to my hair or touch it or manipulate it in any way. But then at school I remember asking my friends if I could braid their hair because I just wanted to play with it, I guess. I remember asking for a styling head, never got a styling head, so I would, you know, ask my white friends if I could braid their hair. And then I had black friends who all had braids and they were like whipping their hair, and I was like, I want braids. I wanted to be like them. So there was a girl who was like the queen bee, and you know, she had long braids most of the time, but then sometimes they would reference her picky hair, like when she would take the braids out. I also watched a lot of American TV, so it was, you know, it was cool to see some sort of representation, but then I saw people who looked like me, but their hair tended to be long and straight, and I was just confused. And I remember asking my mum, you know, why is their hair different? And she was just like, oh, they're Indian. Like, I didn't really understand it at the time, but she implied that they were very mixed. And when I did get braids, I remember sitting in my aunt's living room in Northampton for hours and hours, and I remember her like burning the ends of my hair, and I was so excited to have braids, but then my mum was like, oh, they're not very good, you know, that something had gone wrong. And I think it's weird when you hear these things, you think it's you, when really, you know, it was the way it was done or something. Like, I didn't know what was wrong. I was just so excited to get this hairstyle. I was just hearing negative things. And yes, I think I got a relaxer when I was quite young, like maybe 8 or 9, and then grew it out. And I remember my nan saying something like, you've ruined your beautiful hair. Like, my nan doesn't really have tact, but she's lovely. So I guess I was just taking all of these things on, like there was always something wrong with my hair. And then we move on to the secondary school years. So I think that was when I was really quite experimental, all thanks to my mum. I would come in, I think the first hairstyle I had was braids, so like pick and drop braids. They were thin and then really curly. I think one of them fell out during form time and I was so upset I cried because, you know, you don't want your hair falling out. I got Cleopatra braids. I had some like really cool regal braided updos that my mum would do. So some weeks I would come in with a different hairstyle and then come with it, you know, natural, and my friends would be like, eh? And then I think my mum probably had a bit too much on her plate. Like, my little sister came along and I think my hair got relaxed when I was about 13. And, you know, I think it was shoulder length-ish. I don't know. I had like a very thin ponytail. I remember my nan saying something about my hairline and, you know, maybe like scraping it back wasn't good for my hairline, but I didn't really believe it at the time. Like, I wasn't really a girly girl. I just didn't really care about my hair. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't wear makeup at that time. In my mind I thought, yeah, it'll grow eventually, and it just always stayed the same length. And people are like, will your hair get long? And I also had some really dodgy salon experiences. So I went to one place and the woman had really long nails and she was like, it wasn't great in your scalp. And sometimes they smoked in the salon as well. And I still went to the salon because the relaxer was £28, which was so cheap. Once I was there for 7 hours and I stupidly arranged to cook dinner for my friends later on that day. Yeah, I was very late. And I think at one point I experimented with gluing in bits of hair, and then I'd have just bits of glue in there and it just wasn't nice. So with hindsight, I don't think the relaxed hair was the best option. Obviously, I was always so apprehensive, like if it rained, I wouldn't want to go out. I probably did put a plastic bag on my head at some times. I didn't go to the gym, like I didn't want to exercise because I didn't want to ruin my hair. It was such a big decision to make at a young age, and I didn't really realise what I was taking on. So when I was 24, I discovered clip-in hair extensions and I became a little bit addicted. I would clip them in and I felt like this is the hair I always wanted. It was amazing. But then because I was clipping them in the same place, they would, you know, it would break my hair and my hair was starting to get damaged. I probably did flash them in the wind. You know, I'm pretty sure you saw the tracks. You probably all saw the tracks. I sort of kept this up for a while and then I was thinking about going backpacking, but I was very apprehensive and I told my hairdresser, like, I want to go backpacking, but I don't know what to do with my hair. And she just said, get a weave. And I was like, now it's time. I'd heard about dodgy weaves. I'd seen dodgy weaves. I thought that I couldn't afford a decent weave. You know, I don't know, I didn't want it to have its own postcode. And I was such a weave noob. I went to the hairdressers, she washed my hair, dried it, and then she started cane wearing it and I thought, okay, this is what I expected. And then she got a net and like put the net on my head, cut around the net, stitched the net on my head, and I was like, ooh, I didn't know about this net. I went backpacking, you know, the hair was fine, and then came back and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I think I want another weave. I think I want another one. I was like, do I need to relax my hair if I'm getting weaves? And the hairdresser suggested growing out my relaxer. So it's weird. I only went natural because I wanted to wear weaves. It's probably, you know, the wrong reason, but I think, you know, I'm starting to hear about the natural hair community. I'd seen YouTube videos. I think the most important thing was seeing my little sister. So I think at the time my sister was 12 and I saw her hair, like her natural hair growing. You know, I think my mum had relaxed her hair when she was younger, but it had grown out really nicely. And my mum was saying things like, should I relax it again? And I was like, no, 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 don't do it, don't do it. You know, I looked at my sister and I was just like, your hair is amazing. And I was like, I want that back. So I was a bit apprehensive about doing a big chop because I didn't want to have short hair, like really, really short hair. And now, you know, sometimes I look back and I'm like, maybe I should have tried it. Yeah, at the time I was like, I'm just gonna cover it, I'm gonna wear weaves, grow out the relaxer. So I got another weave, then I got braids, and I think someone gave me a random number of this girl in like a random part of London. I think I was watching Friends on repeat and she did my braids, but they were just very heavy. And I remember just being like weighed down, like, oh my God, I can't carry my hair. And then I decided to take them out the day before I was due to go to Switzerland. So I took my braids out, but then I didn't like comb through each section of hair carefully, like you should, with like loads of conditioner and everything. And also it took me 9 hours to take the braids out. So I was tired. It was a long, long day. I took them out. I was very lazy. I washed it. And then the next day I woke up and it like bits had matted up. Like I had clumps of hair that were like stuck together. And I was like, oh my God, I have to get a flight and my hair is stuck. Like I don't know what to do. But I just had to go. I had to literally just slick it back. I had the tiniest ponytail in the world, like tiny. And yeah, I felt so awful about my hair, but I was going on my very first international press trip. I was so excited, but I just felt like my hair looked rubbish. And there were all of these bloggers that, you know, I'd been admiring their style, they looked amazing, and I just wanted to be like, I look amazing too, but I just felt so horrible about myself. But I think the thing I had to do was just project something. I literally just had to project a kind of confidence and defiance, because I think that fake it till you make it is just such a real thing. So I did it, you know, I was, you know, chatty, I was outgoing, but in my room, I had conditioner on my hair and I was trying to like brush it out. I even called the hairdresser and was like, help. I learned from my mistakes basically, and I'm all about that detangling life now. So yeah, I came back, put another weave on, and then eventually I think I got my first wig, and I just thought, you know, I want a bit of a break from the weaves. I want to like access my hair, I want to wash it properly. So I got my first wig. That was quite an emotional experience. I don't even know if I should go into it. Basically involved me crying in the salon because they'd done my braids really, really tight. And I was like, I can't put my wig on, and I've paid like £300 and I can't put it on. Yeah, I was a bit funny about wigs at first, but then I thought, You know, it's the same thing really. It just means you can take it off at night, you can go to the gym without it, you can just leave it chilling and the hair is already styled. I've been collecting lots of inspiration pics from the internet, and I found myself wanting to do more with my natural hair. Like, I'd put it in a puff sometimes when I was at home, but I just thought, you know, there's more than this. So I made an appointment at ADDICT. I was a bit apprehensive. I brought in all these inspiration pics, but she didn't look at me like, oh my god, you're crazy, like you could never have that. She said, you know, I'm going to cut it into a style and it will grow into this style that you eventually want. I think it just, you know, it framed my face differently, and I wasn't used to it. I wasn't used to having so much of my face on the show. You know, I was gradually like, okay, this is working. You know, I wasn't sure if I had to change my style per se. I kind of kept the same style, but it just made me look a bit different. I guess I was using this long hair as a bit of a I don't know, what was it, a comfort blanket? Do you say comfort blanket? A safety blanket. A safety blanket? I think I've got vlogs from the first week with the fro when I was literally, you know, waking up and I was like, oh my god, what's my hair doing today? It's not doing, is it meant to do this? I think I'd be googling, you know, natural hair, like looking at people's hair and thinking, is my hair meant to do this? Is it meant to do that? But yeah, gradually got used to it, and I was just like, okay, this is my hair, this is what my hair does, you know. I think when I was younger I perceived it in a different way, but I was like, it can be soft. Social media has been great. There is such a big community, there are lots of events as well. You know, sometimes you do see one kind of loose wave that's like represented a lot. So my hair, you know, it's a 4C kinky texture, and I remember first seeing the natural hair bloggers and I was like, oh, I could have these loose waves. And then I tried to do it myself and the kinkiness won. And I think, you know, there are these like Afro beauty standards in a way. Like, I see these girls with amazing massive afros, and sometimes it can, like, you know, affect me in a way because there's so much emphasis on length, on volume. You know, sometimes I'm like, I want to represent, but then sometimes I have bad days. You know, I'm like, I don't know, I don't want that like responsibility, I guess. Even today I wanted it to look a bit fuller. You know, like the camera's meant to add 10 pounds. I think it takes 10 pounds away from my hair. I think it's just, you know, having this certain beauty standard in your head, like from a young age, you perceive young hair as attractive. You think of Goldilocks, Rapunzel, and I'm just like having to re-educate myself in a way. Like with comparison in any situation, I think you just got to view yourself in isolation and think, you know, I'm me, I'm an individual, I've got my own journey, you know, I am unique, I am beautiful. I just view myself in isolation. I am not this person with this massive afro. She has a different journey, I have my journey, and that's fine. I'm seeing loads of women with shorter afros in London. Even yesterday, a woman walked past and she was like, hey natural girl, and I was like, you talking to me? I don't know whether I'm gonna get like kinky 4C extensions, because I think when I have my natural hair out, I like the fact I've not put anything on it, if that makes sense. I might get a puff, I might get an afro puff, so I might do a video like, come buy my afro puff with me. Would you watch that? It's been such a learning process for me, but I have really appreciated getting to know my texture and learning to look after it. So yeah, I like all of my hairstyles for different reasons, but you know, ultimately I feel a lot freer without extensions, and it means I can wear lip gloss again and I don't have to worry about the wind. So I'd love to hear about your hair, like if you've been on a similar journey to me, if you're natural, like what do you do when you're tipsy and you come home and you don't want to really twist your hair? Like, what do you do? I don't know what you do. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Please like this video, subscribe, and yeah, I will see you very soon. Bye! Got my picture with Mary Berry, like put it there, yeah, and I think it's one of the most popular pictures I've ever taken. So yeah, if you want great engagement on your Instagram post, like if you want to beat the algorithm, you just get Mary Berry and take a picture with her.